everyone, welcome back. So today I felt inspired by this beautiful weather that's outside. Finally there's some beautiful weather outside, to make a video, a little summary of the past 2 years since I've done the Breatharian process. As you may know, as you don't, I have been monitoring my evolution since I've done the Breatharian process, but because I realized and I knew that it was part of something bigger, at some point I integrated into what it's called now, what I called the Ascension updates. So this video today is not meant to give you all those details that you will find in all these updates and videos in between, because as you always ask me, either here on YouTube or via my website, I mean in a more private way, I'm always encouraging you to watch the videos, starting with the one that's called Book Giveaway and My Breatharian Process, because that was the first one that I made, and then since then the others. Well, you can skip Girls Who Code if you don't want to, but the rest, it's basically all is connected, and you'll find out very interesting information. But today I decided to do a little summary and share a few personal observation. Probably I will do a yearly update in this sense for this particular subject. But as I mentioned a few times, I do not want to make the focus of my channel just Breatharianism or being Breatharian, whatever, because that would limit me, and this is not what I mean. It is a part of me, it's part of my journey, it's an important one, but all the things that I talk about other than this are as important, as relevant for my own journey and for you and for what's happening right now. And I want to talk about all those things that are important and relevant to me at a particular time, so I do not want to feel limited. So if you come here or subscribe just to see all these updates, I mean just about the Breatharian process, I'm sorry, but this is not just about that. But if you actually in the meantime or from the very beginning you understood that what I have to share it's more than just that, then thank you, and the journey continues. Coming back to the subject of today, which is the little summary of what has been happening in the past 2 years, I will start with the actual process like 2 years ago, in a way to answer this very often question that I receive, and this is like, how did you do? I was like, where did you do it alone? Did you do it with somebody else, or did you have an assistant? And I always say it's like I've done it alone, and this actually came at a time where I was just like finishing my first book. And it was this time where it's like out of nowhere, although I couldn't say it was out of nowhere, because I was thinking about doing this, 14 years now? It was 2000, something like that, 14 years ago. But back then I was a student. Anyway, something stopped me and I was like, well, later. And later happened in 2015, in the summer of 2015. The process came as a natural thing. It came actually very quickly. It was basically a week. I mean, before doing the process, it was a week when I was just watching all this again, rewatching some videos of other people having this experience. Of course, I knew about Jasmine because she was one of the first people that I heard of doing this, and other yogis. That was a long time ago, before even YouTube could show us that there are other people that had this experience, and that they actually now want to, well, facilitate or help others to do that if they want to have somebody to do that with. But because I was in the position where I was and doing what I was doing, I didn't feel that I need to do it with somebody or in a group. And well, as you might know or not, from the first book or whatever, where I leave a lot of clues, but this is not about the Breatharianism in my book. I mean, as it is part of my journey, but it's not just anyway, I'm derailing. Going back to the process, sorry for that. So I decided to do it alone, and a week before that I was watching, I got inspired to watch all these videos about this, and And I felt like it's time that I could do that. So I prepared like 1-2 days before going into the actual dry fasting. I prepared that. As I said, there are different ways to do it. There's a shorter way, there's a longer way, you know, the standard, the one that a lot of us heard long time ago, was the 21 days. But back then there was a different energy. There was less energy in this time-space continuum, this matrix. So it needed longer for some things to happen and things to reset and stuff like that. But since all these things have changed and a lot of healing has occurred, still crazy happens in the background, now it's much easier to do it, and depend also where you are in energy, your codes and stuff like that. So for me it was easy to do that. So I took the 8-day thing. I decided to do that way. So I decided to do the first 2 days like water and some lemon juice, and then I went straight into the dry fast for 3 days or 3 days and a half, something like that. I did 3 days and a half, something like that, yeah. And then I came back. First day was water, and then again something juice and light things, and then. But I want to stop by the process a little bit before then, because for me was never just about, like, for me first of all was never about after this, oh, I'm going to stop eating, or I didn't know how things will evolve after that. For me, as I was explaining in that video, which as I said, I encourage you watch all the stuff in all these videos in order, so you can get all those informations. So for me it was more than just that. For me it was a point where I wanted like a reset, because a lot of things were happening in the background, a lot of energetical attacks, a lot of weird things, and it's like, I'm done. Something needs to be done right now. So I did that, and this changed everything. But more than just that, I intended to connect with Source within. And then something magical happened during this process, which also Jasmine was explaining, that look for that thing that will happen during this process. Some people that have done the process haven't experienced this, which is strange. I did that. It happened for me, and I don't want to put it out right now. For more reasons, also I'm going to include certain things in the following books, and the story, because the story of somebody. Anyways, but something special, something magical has happened during that time, and it was also transformation. It felt physically something has changed. It wasn't just like, oh, whatever. So it was radical what happened, but the process in itself was easy. It wasn't really that hard. Doing those 3 days and a half of dry mode, and it wasn't that hard. Yes, I lost a lot of weight. It felt radical in this sense, because when you do the first time, it's like there's this big shock, because you're disconnected, like all of a sudden, so to speak. So this whole thing, it's like, it's confused. Your system is confused. What are you doing? You know, because your system is connected to this, like getting the exterior, food, whatever, energy and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you just like unplug. So that's why a lot of people will lose weight and will look a little bit whatever, because you just disconnect from that way, and then you're just restarting the engine and things will look different, and you have to give it time, first of all. So I've done it alone. And as I was saying also in the first video about this, that I couldn't really eat after that. Whatever I would put in, you have to understand that it wasn't like a lot of food back then. It was just when I would try to eat, that would be like horrible, because as I said, there is this big shock, there is this big reset, so things need to readjust, reassemble. So for the first 3 months was really, really weird. So I was continuing, after the process, actually, I was inspired to continue with like a day and a half every week to do. And after that, I would not call it fasting. For me, it was not fasting, because fasting is something else. And dry mode is something else after you've done the process. And if you actually have that special magical process has happened, and certain things, as I said, they have to happen inside of you. If they didn't, later somehow they will, because, as I said, this is not linked just to the Breatharian process. This is linked to ascension and whatever. Anyway, so for me, it had that special element, and I knew that it's like, okay, so this is more than just that. While continuing with all this transformation and all sorts of like physical changes, and I released a lot of things, a lot of transformation that were going on in my body everywhere. But even before that, because of the ascension and stuff like that, we're continuing. And in time, I increased the time. I remember last year was probably the most clean that I've done, in the sense I could go up to 3 days in a row, if not 4 sometimes, in dry mode. And then I would consume, but after that didn't mean that I would just like eat like a lot, but it isn't like in those days I would consume something after that. But this year, especially toward all these huge changes that are happening right now, these things have changed again, and I explained in the last Ascension update, and that things look a little bit different now, and I'm going to explain this in the next update in July. Do I keep my fast mode? I mean, to the same. Do I still have the 3-4 days? Yes, it's kind of like this. It's still, I don't do anymore the prolonged times, like to do three days like in a row, dry mode right now, maybe once a month, as I said, or even less, every month and a half, something like that. Depends, I don't know, because it has been really, really crazy. But actually, I am dry every day, most of the time. I might have maybe 1 or 2 days when I would just, like, would say, it would happen for me to have something throughout the day, but that would be small things like fruit or a salad later, like 6-7 hours in between after that, and be water, but not a lot. And as like this past winter, spring, I drank a lot of tea, and since last year as well. Now I am back to water. We'll see how that will go. Yes, it's been a really crazy journey. Fantastic things have changed inside of me. The physiognomy, I mean, a lot of physiologically, people might see that also how I look, and a lot of things have changed. But as I said, this is also connected with the other changes. So that's why I always explain that for me, it's not just about the Breatharian process or being Breatharian. And as I've explained, this is, how should I say, a term that we use, but it's not entirely correct. But it's one that we have accepted to express this thing that we're doing. It has been a really fascinating journey so far. And if you're called to, if this feels like, oh, I should do this, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it, or should I do it alone, should I do it with some other people that have done the process and facilitate this, both work. It's your choice if you want to do it alone or with somebody. If you feel like will look more special to do it in the company of other people, be in a group, and it's your choice. But I refrain from a lot of things to talk about, a lot of these details refraining how some people will actually want to do this, because also through this process and through this cleaning and clearing of a lot of things, and this advancement and transmutation that is happening inside of me, I have my own insights. There's more source coming through, and more things are coherent and clear, and a lot of things come through me, so I can see clear certain things, and that's why I always insist on, like, when you want to do this, the first thing that should be in your mind is to connect with source inside. And it's not about, as I said, just being a Breatharian. It's just you connecting with your power, and that's the thing. And it's not anymore about the races, like how many days you do this and how many days you do that, how much you eat and whatever. You will have to. It's a process that will unfold naturally, organically for you. And as I said, this is customized because we're not the same. We're at different stages of healing and energy and all sorts of things. So my process might be a confirmation for some things that you feel inside of you, but for you the path may look a little bit different, and that's okay. As I said, that's perfectly fine. So you should not like be obsessed with like this and I have to do it in that way and whatever. But you always have to push forward. Always have to keep going. That's the secret. That's the secret to advance in anything. Yeah, it's going to be more than just that I'm Breatharian or whatever. That's why I just I have nothing against all the people that are actually are fascinated by that want to promote just the Breatharianism and being a Breatharian. That's fine. I mean, it's a time where still people live in a lot of darkness, and this type of lifestyle or this type of awareness is still foreign. It's still probably still out there, but more and more people that are waking up, that, as I said, they heard the call, feel attracted to it because it rings in their ears like it's true. There's something there to explore. So they feel attracted to it. It's like it's time to do this. So yeah, that means it's your time to do that thing. But for me, as I said, it's more than just this. Anyways, and before I end, I just want to say that immortality, because some people are just after immortality as well, and when they do this, immortality is available already in the field. Enough things have changed so that this can be accessed. And I'm not talking about those artificial ways that are, some people promote out there in the standard whatever science, and or people that are just want to do this type of transhumanism that include there's nothing wrong with technology, but there's an inner technology that can be accessed, and you can have access to that as well. Anyways, I am going to leave you with that. I'm wishing you to have a great day wherever you are in the world, and see you next time. Ciao. That you have to be aware of